Hey everybody, it's Eric from epautos.com, your libertarian car guy and undiapered car guy. Today, a video that has nothing to do with either diapers or cars, but has to do with the quest toward a more self-sufficient and decentralized life, which has its own merits regardless, but may have even more merits given diaper mania and sickness, psychosis, and all of the craziness that's happening in the world right now, and the not unlikely possibility of having to hunker on your place so as to avoid the sickness psychotics out there. So in keeping with that, I decided to get back into birds. I used to have chickens years ago and kind of got out of it after my divorce and let everything fall into disarray. So as you can see, I'm back into chickens and also into ducks. And I've written a couple of articles about this, but I've not yet done a video, so I thought I would do a little video just to show you some of the things that I've done, which may be helpful to you if you're considering getting birds. And by the way, the reason that I got ducks, in addition to the chickens, twofold. One, duck eggs are larger, and a lot of people don't know that ducks apparently are more productive of eggs than chickens are. So there's a double plus there. And also I've found, at least with my ducks, and I think I have a boy and a girl, but I'm not sure about that, they're pretty protective of the chickens, which may serve to deter some predators. I haven't yet put that to the test, but I'm kind of hopeful that maybe a hawk would be intimidated by a duck. I don't know. By the way, you can see the duck swimming in my little pond, which I'm going to show you about in a minute. But the first thing that I wanted to show you was the result of something that I learned from my first go-around with poultry. And that is to sink the fence into the ground, not have it actually on the ground, because what happens if you put your fence up so that it's just on the ground, predators will easily burrow right underneath that fence and get at your birds and kill them all. So this time I actually put that fence about 6 inches into the ground, and then, to be double sure, I ran a bead of concrete along the entire perimeter of the thing, so nothing is going to dig underneath that short of a backhoe. And so far so good. I've had absolutely no problems with anybody getting at my birds. Now, of course, the coop, or the run, is open, so there is the possibility of a hawk swooping down, and I'm not sure yet whether I'm going to put netting over the top. I may or I may not. At any rate, I made my yard big enough so that the girls will have plenty of room to walk around, and also hopefully some vegetation to eat. The last time I had chickens, I had probably too many, and they denuded the yard. So I did let them out, and I let them have the run of the area. Of course, that presents its own problems, because then if a stray dog shows up, or a fox or a coyote or anything, they are going to get your birds. I will probably still let my birds free range once they're fully mature, but not all the time. I'll probably let them out only under supervised conditions so that I can be here to make sure nothing happens to them. Let's see, something I wanted to say, which is interesting, that I've just learned being new to ducks. Ducks mature a lot faster than chickens. As you can see, these are pretty much full-grown ducks at this point, even though they're only about 2 months old, whereas my chickens, all of which were gotten at the same time from the Rural King store, they're still pullets. They're almost chickens, but not quite. They probably won't lay for another 3 months or so, probably not until the winter. I don't know when the ducks will start laying, but the ducks got huge really quickly. I was very, very impressed by that. Now, let's see, about ducks. You're probably going to want to give your ducks a pond of some kind. This rude little pond that I created was just field expedient. I had to do something quickly to give them a place to swim, and it's not just for their psychological health. Ducks, as I've read, are different than chickens. Chickens don't necessarily, well, chickens don't swim, first of all. Chickens need to drink, and like, of course, like we do, but they don't need water necessarily in the way that ducks do to eat. I'm not being very articulate, but let me explain. Ducks, apparently, they have to immerse their heads in water, and when they eat, they need to wash it down with water. So there actually is a physical need for a duck to have a place to stick its head in the water, and there's a psychological need, they're waterfowl, to give them a place to swim. So here's what I did, and this only took me about a half hour to do this, and it's worked so well that I haven't improved it. That's why it looks so rude, but it works. So I just took a shovel, there's my shovel, and I dug out a roughly 4 by 3 square, which isn't exactly square, And then I took a tarp, put the tarp down as a liner, and I filled it up with water. And I put some stones in there so that the ducks can walk in and out. And it's easy peasy Japanesey. Now, ducks are dirty and they do foul the water pretty quickly, but it's super easy to clean that out without even resorting to having any kind of plumbing. I take a snow shovel that I've got, one of those things with kind of a broader shovel surface than your standard dirt shovel, and I just use it to sort of shovel out, if you will, the water that's in the pond, and I can do that in about 5 minutes. Just a couple of big swoops, and out goes almost all the water. I can get about 90% of the water out, and then I just refill it. No fuss, no muss. So pretty easy stuff. This is my coop that I built. It's kind of a work in progress, as most people who have chickens will tell you. I plan to put, there's one window on the side of it for ventilation. I'm going to put another window on the front toward the left. There's the little door which is lockable that the birds go in and out of, and there's also a large door around the other side, which I'll show you, that leads to the interior. So there's the interior of it where a man can easily walk in, and I wired it. So I've got electricity in there, which is handy in the wintertime because I can keep a heat light on to keep the birds from freezing, and it's nice to have a light just to be able to work. Anyway, I'm hopeful that once these birds start producing, that this will be more than enough to provide for my own needs for recyclable food. I've got 7 hens, and once these hens start laying, I'm probably going to get at least, I don't know, 3 or 4 eggs probably out of them, out of the group every single day, plus the ducks, which will by itself be a protein source sufficient to keep me upright, even in a worst case kind of a scenario. And I probably will have enough of a surplus of eggs to trade with my neighbors who grow vegetables and who have other things that I don't have right now. Which is a nice little setup, and those of you who can do so, I strongly recommend you start forming networks with people in your vicinity, your neighbors and so on, with whom you can partner up and barter up and exchange things that are of value to you both, that don't entail having to go to a supermarket to get them, and don't entail having to submit to diapering or a forced vaccination that you may not want to get. I certainly don't want to get it. I certainly won't submit to it. At any rate, I just thought I would share all of that with you guys, and I will have more on the poultry doings shortly up on the site. Thanks as always for listening to the rants and reading the articles and supporting the site, and we'll catch up with you again soon.